epiphany?
No, ownership. I'm only partly to blame. All my children had a great relationship with me until the divorces.
So 18 kids, right?
Yes, and I had a great relationship with my
wives?
children. There were 4. There is 1.
Okay.
Okay, so when the divorces happened, the children were the victims of the divorce, and they had to pick sides, and they had a closer relationship because of polygamy to their mothers.
Hey everyone, welcome back. So, this morning I realized again that Kody is not honest. Just kidding, we've known this for a while. The finale of Special Forces is coming up, and Kody was recently in New York talking to a Fox affiliate about the show. He was asked about what was hardest for him during filming, the physical challenges or the mental ones. Kody said it was the mental side that was hardest. They also showed a clip of him being questioned by drill sergeants about how he handled his past relationships and divorces. The drill sergeants pressed him about taking responsibility, but Kody cried and talked a lot without admitting he was truly wrong.
Taking ownership right now.
My failures was because I didn't know about being a good dad and husband, and I thought I did. I really thought I did. And I misunderstood that, and I did it wrong in so many ways, and I hated being blamed for it. And so it made me resistant to ownership.
That resistance or not wanting to be blamed, it's a very adolescent way of looking at things.
A few weeks ago, I said I didn't believe Kody's excuses. He cried on camera and claimed he didn't understand how to be a father or handle being wrong. Maybe there's a little truth in that. He doesn't like being wrong, but mostly, he's hiding behind his image as a tough, alpha guy. Kody is a pathological liar and a narcissist. Watching him, I knew he wouldn't really take responsibility for his kids. He blamed the system instead of admitting his own mistakes. In a New York interview, he admitted lying to the drill sergeants about his role in his family issues. But he still tried to shift the blame to circumstances, like polygamy and the system, instead of owning his choices as a parent.
So it was just a natural movement that they moved away from me, and that hurt me. And so I was doing the best that I could through the entire situation, but it tended to get very, very toxic because every one of our flaws and our faults is being portrayed by another person, pointing a finger in my other show.
Okay, so the kids moved away from him, which makes sense given the whole polygamy situation. Then he admits that things got toxic because of their show, since people were finally able to express their feelings. The irony here is huge. If you think about how they had to live under Kody's control, basically being manipulated and trafficked by him while he made all the money and used it however he wanted, they finally got to speak their truth. They stopped covering for him and stopped pretending he was a great guy. They shared how they were treated, and Kody didn't like hearing it. For so long, he was able to control what they said and manage the narrative on the show, but eventually he lost that control. That's really what he's admitting here. The show allowed people to share their experiences, and he didn't want to face the truth or be blamed for it. He didn't want to hear what really happened, what all of us saw. To me, if you're just going to blame the show for the problems and claim you don't like the feedback it brings, then maybe you shouldn't be filming at all. If the show is causing this much pain in your life, hurting your family, and damaging relationships, the simplest solution is to stop putting all your drama on TV. There's an easy way around it. Don't do the reality show. I'm sure many of the adult children would be relieved if they stopped, but they won't. So instead, Kody uses this as another way to deflect responsibility. And honestly, it just keeps getting worse.
And as they left, we were both responsible for it, but I'm in a military type of situation here with Rudy and Billy, and I felt like the only military way to manage this is to take full responsibility. If you're partly culpable, you're fully culpable. It's just like ownership. And so I went into it going, yeah, I was the problem. I was the one that made the mistakes. But in all reality, it's to be shared with ex-wives.
This is such a strange way to dodge the question because if you watched the Special Forces episode, they were talking about how Kody handled his relationships with his children. It was about his responsibility as a father to take ownership of his role. And here he is, deflecting, saying, well, no, I was just saying that. He literally admitted that he only said it because he was in a military situation and had to act like he was taking ownership, but he wasn't being truthful at all. Essentially, he's admitting that he lied to those guys to tell them what they wanted to hear just so he could get out of the situation, without meaning any of it. In other words, Kody walks into situations, says what he thinks people want to hear, simply to escape, not because he actually believes it. He lies. Then he goes back to blaming others, saying, well, it's really their fault. The discussion with the DSs was supposed to be about his role as a father, and also about the
I think is claiming that you made her or wanted her to sign an NDA. Anything to that?
That was on a, that's so crazy. No, that was all something that a legal representative, a lawyer had said, you better just do this, and this is part of, like, and it was all about a business transaction that was happening. It wasn't part of the show. Gosh, so things, get really misconstrued and misunderstood. The problem was the two of us were only talking through lawyers.
I speak Kody. I'm fluent in his language. And when Kody says something isn't about something, it usually is. So in this case, if Kody says that was just a silly NDA that was recommended by a lawyer, and I hate how he says lawyer, like he really enunciates the why, he claims it wasn't about the show. He says it was only about the business transaction or the real estate transaction. Okay, I've said this a million times over the last few weeks. There's nothing you could use an NDA for regarding the property because all the documents for the sale are recorded in the county. They're public, filed with the county. You and I, or anyone else in the public, can go to Cook County and see how the division went. See when the documents were signed, and verify if things were done when they said they were done according to the show. We've already exposed that Kody and Robyn lied on the show, acting like Meri held things up when it was actually Robyn who refused to sign because of this NDA. They wanted her to sign it, and she refused. And yet he says it's about the real estate. There's no way an NDA would be necessary for real estate because it's all public record. If there was something in their negotiations that was illegal, like, I'm going to pay you back for the money you gave me for Robyn's house, sure, maybe there's a reason. I don't know. Maybe he just didn't want the public exposure of Meri revealing fraud or something. Although generally, lawyers are not supposed to engage in fraudulent activity, we know this happens all the time. We've seen it frequently over the past year covering the Blake Lively case, and we've also seen it happen publicly in the media given how things are happening currently in the world. Without going into specifics, we know it's not beyond a lawyer to engage in fraudulent activity. But for Kody to claim it's not about the show means it absolutely was about the show. Why else would he demand an NDA? In the same interview, he said the reason he got so angry, couldn't handle himself, and things got toxic was because people were blaming him and he didn't like the feedback. Because he didn't like the feedback, he got angry and exploded. That's an excuse, right? You can control your emotions. You cannot just respond like that. I mean, listen, I get angry about things too, like the last few days with what's been happening in the Epstein case and for the survivors. It's been infuriating to watch. Over the last several months, I've been following this so closely, and I've felt heartbroken for the survivors. My husband and I have had conversations behind the scenes, and I get angry, my voice gets heated. And it's not like we're yelling at each other, but we're frustrated for these women, and that's one thing. But to not hear what you want from someone, then start yelling, throwing a temper tantrum, and smearing people on reality TV, while being okay with your narrative, that's different. You're okay as long as your narrative is the publicly prevailing story, and that's all that matters. Up until everyone left, they stood by him, kissed his butt, and said nothing negative. Maybe they expressed discontent quietly under their breath, but nothing like what happened when Christine and Janelle started breaking away from Kody and things really began to move. That's when the floodgates opened, they were no longer protecting him. And Kody doesn't like it when they stop protecting him. Really, what Kody is saying is that people are exposing his real behavior, showing how he actually acts, admitting he has explosive behavior, yet he isn't at fault, it's their fault. He doesn't take responsibility for what happened with his kids. He told people on the show what they wanted to hear just to avoid dealing with feedback and to get out of the situation, manipulating his way out. The best part of this entire episode or interview was Kurt Meni, who I only know from the NFL Sunday morning show on Fox. My husband and I watched it, and he was so funny. At the end of the interview, he said something like, "Well, it was interesting to meet you or interesting to get to know you." You could tell Kurt was thinking, who is this weirdo? You are so weird. That's exactly how people feel around Kody. Kody admitted he constantly irritated his cast members, calling Randall Cobb the wrong name the entire time he was on the series. He called Sean and Andrew East Sean and Andrew West. Then he shrugged it off, saying, "I can't remember names. I do that all the time. I have a big mouth. I don't stop talking. Even if you don't like it, I just keep talking because that's me, having a big mouth. LOL." And Kurt's response? "Oh, okay. Bye, Kody." When Kody is out in the real world, people think he's weird. We're all on the same page here, so what are your thoughts? Are you surprised that Kody is lying? Are you not surprised? Or are you just like, "Oh, you guys, this is standard Kody Brown. This is just what he does"? Katie, we've been watching this for years. We knew it would be this way. What do you think about Kody admitting to lying? Do you think he even knows he did it? Tell me in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. And click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, besties.